Yo, 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 what's going on? This is your boy Ray Mabry coming to you live here in downtown Raleigh. And I got a special guest coming to you this evening, Mr. Ramon Tookes. He's out of Atlanta, Georgia, and I'm telling you, this guy's rocking it. He's a veteran in the industry, as I shared with you before. He's been in this business for 20 years. 20 years now, so make sure you got your pad and pen ready. We're going to have a little Q&A at the end, so make sure you ask your questions then. We may try to answer a few of them through the course of the interview, but try to hold your questions to the end of the interview. All right, let's go ahead and share this scope. Let's go ahead and invite your followers and make sure you heart it up, because I'm telling you, whenever you get an opportunity to hear from someone like Ramon that's been in the industry for so long, you owe it to yourself to make sure you catch a hold of what he's saying, because to be in the industry for 20 years, that means you must know what you're doing, all right? So without further ado, let me introduce you to Ramon Tookes. Ramon, what's going on, man? You there?
Yeah, I'm here. How you doing, Ray?
Hey, I'm doing great, man. Yeah, man, doing great. How was your day?
They've been wonderful. One of those real estate days. Started off with an interview this morning, and I guess we got one here this evening and one at 8:30. So it's been a day.
I hear you, man. I hear you. Let's go ahead and get into it. In 2 minutes, Ramon, can you tell us who Ramon Tookes is and what makes you different?
Yeah, Ramon Tookes, born here right in Atlanta. I have a true love for real estate. I've been doing this now, as he said, this is my 20th anniversary this month. So I'm a guy that loves fixing and flipping, and I love to see projects go from start to finish. Wasn't born with a silver spoon, so I'm definitely a blue collar guy. And what makes me different is, just my true passion and love for the business. My love to see other people successful as well as having successful projects.
Okay, great. Now, Ramon, next question is, I know you said you've been in the business for 20 years, so I know you've seen a lot of waves, a lot of cycles and stuff. So what has been your secret to being able to withstand the ups and the downs in the industry?
Well, it comes with diversifying what we're doing and then having a true work ethic. Early on, when I first got started in '96, it was so easy, Ray. Like it was kind of you get up and you know you're going to close some deals. And then as you grow, you start to meet the challenges. But up until, I guess it was, the first time was 2001 when the September 11th hit, when, we saw some things that were scary where, there wasn't any money flowing for a while. And I had been in the business only 5 years. So we made it through that. Just because we had rental properties and we were doing some fix and flipping, we did some commercial stuff. But the second wave came in 2007, and I can say we were rolling, and it was an awesome time. And then 2007, 2008, it went horrific on us. But how we were able to survive is just using all the different, from wholesaling to holding. We had some rooming houses that kept us going, and then we kind of piggyback off that and did some property preservation because of our relationships with the different banks that we had bought a ton of properties from. So it's all real estate related. And then back in 10, we jumped back in it with the hedge funds and began to wholesale them some deals. And for me, I love fixing flips, so I jumped back out fixing and flipping, which we're at it and we're doing pretty well right now.
Awesome. And you say, I know you're making reference to we. So do you mind kind of give us an idea how your team is made up?
Yeah, when we start talking about teams, I do a lot of partnerships, JVs, but my team in general consists of, I have an office manager, I have 2 field supervisors, and then for the most part, we have a couple of people that handle calls. But most of the people, our contractors, who are one of the most important pieces, our inspectors normally work for our lenders, unless we have, outside, that we need outside inspectors. And then, so we handle the calls, we run the fields, and we set up that same group of people, in every city that we go into. So, of course, the attorney, if needed. I know some cities don't need attorneys. The realtors who, I love my realtors all over because they bring us deals and they help us move those deals pretty quickly. And then the lenders. If you don't have a big pot of cash, which most of us don't, you still can compete with the guys with the cash when you have the right lenders.
Okay, great. Next question. All right, so you already said that you've been in the industry for 20 years, and you're there in the Atlanta market. Can you kind of tell us some of the advantages and disadvantages of being in a highly competitive market like Atlanta?
I tell you what, I'll start with the disadvantages. The disadvantages, because we have been so spoiled, it's frustrating because there are so many deals and they go so quickly. There's so many people here from all over the world, and I'm sure that's in most cities. But then you have the locals, and then we're competing with the homeowners. And so the disadvantage again would be just the competition. But now the advantages are, with me being in the business so long, I have so many resources, so many wholesalers bringing us deals, so many realtors bringing us deals, so many banks. We do a lot of direct buys from banks as well. So we just have so many resources because we've done it and we've done what we said we're going to do till we get that nod. So that's an advantage of being in 20 years here in Atlanta.
Okay, great. And you also mentioned something too that I want to ask you another question about. When you say you have wholesalers bring you deals, I know we have a lot of wholesalers just watching and just getting started. So can you kind of tell them one or two things that you look for when you're looking to acquire a property from them, so they'll know when they're out there shopping with these sellers what to bring to you?
Yeah. Ray, I love wholesalers. They are probably, well, I know they're probably 50% of where we get our deals from, even on all the mail outs that we do and all the other relationships. Wholesalers are the key for fix and flippers in our business. I mean, we can do it without, but I don't try because I get some great deals from wholesalers. So some of the things I look for, Ray, and I don't know if you ever heard me talk about wholesaling versus wholesaling. And wholesaling is a mixture of wholesale and retail. I look for good deals. I look for honest people that come to me and say, hey, Ramon, here's the numbers. This is why. Because we get so many deals, so I do need you to give me the details. So the details are critical. The ARV, a true ARV, renovation numbers. And if you don't know the renovation numbers, say, I don't know it. And then we have the teams to go out and look at it. But don't say 15 when it's really 35. Don't say 35 when it's really 65. Because once you do that once or twice, I'm going to stop looking at your deals. And then I'm going to tell my buddies, I'm going to say, hey, they're doing bad deals. And so, it's not going to be pretty for you after a while with your wholesale deals. So, just really good details, photos, anything that you can do to help me make a quick decision. So that's, with my wholesalers, they know, just bring it to me. And if it's not a good deal, say, I don't know. Kind of give me a true assessment of what the deals are, because we can't look at every deal the way I would want to look at every deal. So I trust my wholesalers.
Okay, great. And the next question, let's talk about this find, fund, fix, and flip formula that you have. So can you kind of break that down as to from the actual marketing to the seller, to putting the property on the contract, to getting the money for it, to getting the contractors to fix it up, to listening with a realtor to sell it. So can you kind of walk us through how that whole thing works, please?
Well, as we call it, Flipology 101, it's a proven system, and it is the find, fund, fix, flip. And I know we've heard it before, but the way we teach it, because of our experience, we give you a little bit of edge. So, Ray, for instance, when I come to Raleigh and hang out and have lunch, I'm going to be looking for, finding that deal. From there, I know how to fund it, I know how to fix it, and I know how to flip it. So finding the deal, there's a ton of ways to find deals, from yellow letters to, your website, with the SEO, bringing in deals from wholesalers, your realtors. So once you find that deal, you have to know how to analyze it. So you got to get accurate numbers in order to make that, you got to have construction numbers, you got to know the ARV in order to make a pretty decent offer. And then from there, on the construction side, before we fix it, we got to fund it. And there's, as I always tell people, there's probably 10 ways you can fund a deal, whether it be joint ventures, whether it be hard money, cash, 401ks, IRAs, credit cards. We can teach you how to fund a deal. So that's, for us, we found it, we funded it, and then the part that scares most people is the fixing side. What we do is when we talk about step 3 on the fixing side, we take that fear out of fixing based on us spending a little bit more money on inspections, having inspectors, and not skipping that step of having an inspector and great contractors. And great contractors, I guess sometimes is probably the most frustrating part of it, especially now where there's so much work. But having that great contractor or team of contractors that bid and you don't want the cheapest person, and probably not the most expensive person, but somebody that's kind of middle of the road, that's competitive, that can handle their own crews. And then we get to the flipping part. Yes, you need a great realtor. You need somebody that knows how to say stage it or not stage it. Why? Buy it or not buy it. I have realtors that tell me yes or no, and I trust them. Sometimes I use my gut, but a lot of the times I go off what the realtors say. So, in all 4 steps, from the finding it, the funding it, the fixing it, the flipping, that realtor is going to be key to the flip. Your front end, when you find it, we know what price we're supposed to sell it for. And then on the back end, that realtor should have already told you in the beginning, but also on the back end, we can get it sold. So that's those 4 steps. I know that's pretty quick, but all of them are critical. But that fixing part, when we're fixing and flipping, is definitely critical.
Okay, great, guys. I hope you got that information. Remember, make sure you're taking notes because Ramon knows what he's doing. Now, I do have a couple questions. You mentioned something about credit cards, funding a deal with credit cards. So can you kind of talk about that? And the second question is, what happens, what concerns a lot of investors sometimes is they go out here and they borrow somebody's money, OPM, other people's money, and then by some chance they can't get rid of the property. They fix it up, but they can't get rid of the property. So can you talk about what happens if by some chance, say you do a 6-month loan with a lender, a private lender, you can't get the property sold within that time? Are there any kind of repercussions, penalties, fees? Can you talk about that, the credit cards, and then what happens if you don't sell the property?
Let's talk about credit cards first. Credit cards, when used properly, can be a very good tool. So if you got something let's call it an American Express. I wouldn't say buy the property with the American Express because you got to pay it off in 30 days. But when you are funding your renovations, if your money's in escrow and hey, if I finish XYZ, next week I pay it off, or next week I pay it off, then you use it that way so you're not tying up all your cash in that deal. Second thing is, I know you asked me about, I'll go back. Credit cards, another thing. I've seen credit cards where there's 0% interest for the first year. So now, if I can get 0% interest for a year and I got a credit card with a $50,000 balance, yeah, I'll buy something because I'm not paying any interest. So it just depends on, or very low interest. If it's 6% a year or 5%, and there are a lot of credit cards out there right now that are lower interest than it was a few years ago. So just depends on the type of credit card, the cost of the credit card, how we use it. But definitely use it for your materials if you have money in escrow. If you bought something and you don't have that money in escrow, then I won't say, maybe not use that credit card because you're dependent on it to sell.
Correct.
So kind of segueing into selling. If it doesn't sell, I have somebody else's money. Maybe the contractor's taking too long. Maybe we overpriced it. Maybe, we went over budget. That's something you have to, in the beginning, tell your investors. If it's a hard money lender, normally if you've paid on time, they'll extend, whether it be a monthly fee or, another 6 months. But if you have investors, just tell them up front, our goal is to get it done in 6 months. I never, on every fix and flip, I always say 6 months. If we do it in 3 months, it's great. If we do it in 4 months, it's great. But I also try to get 12-month loans as well when I'm dealing with hard money lenders. And if I don't, they have an understanding that, we may need to, do it for an additional 3 months or 6 months or whatever it is. So you just got to have a good relationship with where you get the money from. Because every deal, I don't care who you are, we can't predict things happening. We can't predict rain. I know it rained here in Atlanta last summer like 10 days in a row. Mm-hmm. And we were supposed to paint. I think we had about 8 houses sitting, right? So There's nothing, we can't predict that kind of stuff. And so because we can't, you have to have an understanding, clear understanding from the beginning that there may be some overages, some overruns. We try not to have any overages in the construction side, but there may be, which, I always tell people to have a contingency in their construction budget.
Somebody just asked too, right quick, Ramon, about the credit card. Are you talking a business credit card or a personal credit card?
Either one, whichever one you can obtain. I mean, it doesn't matter which one. It's based on the interest rate of the card for me, or for what I would say to them.
Okay. All right. Great. Next question. Just want to ask you another question as far as the inspiration. You've been in the business for 20 years. Right. So can you kind of tell us something about, maybe somebody on a personal side that inspires you, and then also maybe somebody on the professional side, a mentor or someone like that inspires you?
Yeah, you know, I guess as a kid, I was kind of self-motivated, but I'm very competitive as well. So a lot of the days when I get up and I see HGTV and I smile about it because, you know, they fix up a house and add 3,000 square feet in like 7 hours. And so people really think they can do that. And they say, hey, we did this whole 8,000 square foot of house sheetrock for $3,000. And I don't know how they do it. But so I'm inspired, one, to make sure people know the real deal. And I'm not knocking anybody's show because it's you know, this stuff is good to watch. But knowing I want to see people be successful at this and not get the black eye like they did in 2008. This business had a black eye.
Right.
It's one thing that motivates me. As far as mentors, I've had a young man, or I guess he's an older gentleman, that taught me a lot about the rental side. But fix and flip is something that I just, you know, when I say I love it, I just love it. And then if you're new, just know things are going to happen. Deals are going to get to the closing table, almost get to the closing table, don't close. You have to know that we all go through it. So you're not like on an island. Get with a group of people. I don't care where you are. Get a team or one person that knows this business that can say, hey, you know, we went through it too. You know, I've been to the closing table and a deal didn't close, and I was counting my money.
Right.
I don't. You know, a lot of people say, Ramon, you what? Yes, I was. I count my money every time I think I'm having a closing. Whether or not it's closing or not, and that's a bad feeling, especially when you are counting that money to live off of. So it's, you know, inspiring for me to be able to help people learn this business. I love to hear those success stories where somebody got into business and, you know, they did a deal, they wholesaled a deal, or they brought us a deal, you know, in a matter of weeks or months, and just made that money. So pretty much, you know, I'm inspired when I see people come into the business and do well, or come into and work hard. Sometimes you don't get that first deal for a year, but you have to understand you got to keep pushing, and that's for all of us. You know, we got to keep pushing.
I totally agree with that, and that's a realistic approach too. You know, sometimes you can do a deal in 30 days, but sometimes it may take you 30 months, which is almost 3 years. I mean, it shouldn't take that long, but you never know. It just kind of depends on the situation. And then I can also echo what he said about the deal's not closing. Ramon and I talked offline. We got a closing tomorrow. Tomorrow at 3 o'clock. I get a text at 5:30 this afternoon saying that the buyer went by the house that he was buying and there was a code violation on it. So now all of a sudden they want to do some more research. So it happens. It happens to me. It happens to Ramon. And if you do enough deals, it's going to happen to you. So that's part of the industry, ladies and gentlemen. So don't get blown out of the water. Hey, it is what it is. Just keep it moving. All right, so the next question, Ramon, what are some of your goals in the next 90 days, the next 6 months, and the next 12 months? You can just try to share one or two of them on each.
In each category, okay. 90 days, this weekend we're doing a boot camp. So, you know, successfully go through that boot camp. We're expanding to different cities. So as we grow, it's to build more teams over the next 90 days in Charlotte and Birmingham. And then as far as deals, I really never put a number on deals because I don't know, I don't want to cap myself. I don't want to say, well, yeah, I'm going to do 4 deals. And then, you know, Ray, you called me and said, I got 4 deals in Raleigh.
Right.
Well, you know, if I talk myself out of it, you know, and then I've only wanted to do 4, then I'm only going to do 4. But deals, as many as I can.
Okay.
As many as fix and flip. We're doing our first fix and flip in Charlotte. We have a few going on here in Atlanta. And we also do other things, right? We do development stuff. So for me, we just picked up a subdivision that had 3 houses already in it that were built in 08.
Okay.
I count those as fix and flips. But so that's 90 days, 6 months to do another successful flipology boot camp, and we will have done one here in Atlanta, and then we have been blessed enough to we're going to New Haven, Connecticut, to do a full flipology 101 boot camp, 2 days. The buses, the whole nine, man. I mean, somebody is paying for it, and it's, you know, it's a God-given, like, because I never would have imagined going to New Haven, Connecticut. I think I'm stepping in somebody else's territory, one of the big boys, and you know, we don't mean to, but that's part of the business. And then, you know, just getting online a little bit more because I haven't done a lot online, social media. I get on there every now and then, So just getting better at that and just building a better team. Getting cheaper capital. I'll say it and I'll say it again, guys. We talk about it, but we have to get cheaper capital to be successful at this business. And there's ways I know we all know, banking relationships that we can all get to. And then 12 months just to grow this and have it automated. I want to be able to go. I wish I could attend you guys flipping summit this weekend. I want to be able to attend those things without thinking about what's going on in the 4 cities that we have projects going on. So just growth, building those teams, making them stronger, having stronger systems in place. And we all need them. We all need the systems. We need the people. You can't do it alone. I don't care how much order you got to have a team.
I hear you. And you said, as far as Connecticut, you said, is someone actually sponsoring you?
Yeah, they're paying for it. So in November, we had a pastor that came to the November boot camp, and originally said that he was going to send his kids back to Atlanta. And then we got a call, and my partner, Sonia Booker, who's a wealth builder, very, very well-known wealth builder, she speaks at the end of our boot camp, and it's inspirational, giving you guidance on how to build wealth using real estate. And so she knows him, and so he gave her a call back and said, hey, I want you guys to come to Connecticut. So for me, I know behind the scene it takes a lot, because we have 2 full days, we feed you lunch, we got other speakers, and then we go out on bus tours on day 2 to look at projects, not for sale, but things that we're working on at that time in various stages. So he called and said, hey, I want you guys to come. And I said, no, that would be a big risk, because I don't know anybody in New Haven, and no matter how much social media I got, it's tough to fill those buses. Like, it's tough to fill those rooms when you don't have a major following or big marketing dollars.
Right.
She called me back and said he didn't expect for me to pay. He's paying for the buses. He's going to fly us there, hotels, all the paraphernalia, all the workbooks, just the venue, just everything. We just need to show up.
Wow.
And what I can say is, man, that's, I think I almost cried when I heard that. So that's a true blessing. So yeah, we'll be in New Haven, and that's a long ways from Atlanta when we're doing what we're doing, but it works. Our system works no matter where we are. You got to find it at the right price. You got to fund it, you got to fix it properly, and then you got to flip it. And if you do the first 3 things properly, the flip part is easy.
Hey man, I'm truly excited for you about that, and that is definitely a blessing, guys. And that's what happens when you go out here and you do the right things and you do what you're supposed to do. Doors just open up for you. They open up for you, and what you gotta do then, you gotta walk through that door. Walk through that door, of course, give God the glory, because it's a blessing. But at the same time, you gotta walk through that door and take advantage of those opportunities that I always share with you. All right, Ramon, a couple more questions. If you had to do it all over again, let's say you were just getting started, what would you do first, or what would you do differently?
I ask myself that all the time, Ray. Sometimes my answer is nothing, because we are where we are when we are, just because there's things that happened to us made us be who we are. But if I had to go back and change some things, when I started, I was a 20-year-old young man that was able to build a net worth of $13 million by the time I was 26.
Wow.
And by the time I was 36, it was negative $2 million because of the crash, right? But I learned so much. At 20, when I started, if I could go back, I would have the team mentality. I didn't have it then. It was I want to make a lot of money so I can buy me a new S500. I want to make a lot of money so I can have a big house. I was 20 years old. So if I go back, I would develop better relationships early on, build teams, learn how to delegate, and trust people. I would do those, and I don't know where I would be now. Probably, I don't know if I would be running for president with Trump, but we could definitely have duplicated what he's done because of the opportunities. And if you trust people and you learn how to delegate and you build teams, we can duplicate what we do all over the country. And that means you look up, and if it's a dollar amount, you can get to that dollar amount pretty quickly. Okay,
great. And I don't know if you guys heard what he just said, but he said a few years ago, he was $2 million in the red. $2 million in the red. You did say that, right? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And see, most people, they want to, I don't know what want to jump out buildings. Either way, I'm not talking about that part, but he didn't give up. He didn't like go and crawl in a corner and just say, hey, this stuff doesn't work, or I had this and now I got this, or the society did this, and the bank industry and the government. No, he took responsibility for that. He took responsibility for that. He went and made it happen. Look at him now. Just a few years later, he's back on top, and that's the blessing too. And so, last question for newbie investors: what would you say the top 3 things a newbie investor needs to do right now to get started in real estate?
Number 1 is get your mind right. Like, you got to be ready for this business. You got to understand that this is not and I tell people, this is not a hustle. This is a true business. If you want to hustle, then you can hustle, but it's going to run out. You're going to learn how to do something, but if it's not put in a system where, mentally you're prepared for things like not closing on time or losing 20 bids out of 21 bids, you got to keep going. So number 1 is being mentally prepared. Educating yourself, not over-educating yourself, because at some point, you gotta do what we're learning about. But being mentally prepared, then I will say building a team, getting a coach or mentor, somebody that can help you, or a couple people that can help you get to the level that you want to get to. And then the third thing is probably the most important, is taking action. Even if you make a mistake, so what? It's not going to be that big of a mistake if you have the right people and systems in place. So don't be afraid to go out and, learn how to wholesale. Guys, you're on the scope with one of the best wholesalers in the nation. Like, I watched him. I smile, like I'm so excited about us being able to work together. But listen to what he says. Like, we're not going to tell you guys something wrong, because it comes back on us. And hopefully all of us, we want to see you guys make money. We make money if you make money. I definitely want to say, taking action. So being mentally ready, building that team, and then just taking action. Your team members can consist of, hey, Ray, can I come under you and I give you 75% of every deal I find until I learn? Maybe that works. I get that all the time. So taking action, number 3, Ray. If they don't take action, none of this stuff. You can watch all the YouTube. I got people that know more about fixing and flipping than I do and never done a deal. So I'm fine with that. Because I'm going to take action. And if I make a mistake, I'll make up for it. But because you're going to make mistakes in this business. There's going to be some errors that have been made. It's going to be some delays. It's going to be some, it just happens. So don't be afraid to make a mistake, and you will be successful. Okay,
great response. And I really do appreciate that endorsement. And likewise, Ramon, I think you're doing a great job. And see, that's the beauty of it too. Ramon's there in Atlanta. I'm here in Raleigh. He's doing business in Charlotte. He's going to come do some business in Raleigh. I'm doing business in Atlanta. There is no competition, ladies and gentlemen. And once you grab hold of that concept, once you realize that, and realize that, hey, we all bring something to the table, and we can work together and create these alliances, and instead of looking at each other as competition, then we all can go out here and flourish. We all can go out here and be productive, all right? So let's go ahead and get these questions. Start asking questions. Like I said before, you got to have that abundance mentality, exactly. Let's go ahead and ask some relevant questions to Ramon now, and I'm going to go ahead and turn it back on you. And somebody said, can you tell a little more about your book? Yeah, Ramon just came out with a book, so can you go ahead and tell us a little more about your book, Ramon?
You know what? I think they joke because I'm not like, I'm the professor. I talk, I don't have a lot of I don't do. And so the book should have been out about a year ago.
Okay.
And I kept saying, I'm going to do it. And so what I had to do was I set a deadline. Like, we're having a book release party Friday, which was the 11th. And so up until Monday, I was still doing things. But the book itself it's the boot camp in a book. So it's find, fun, fix, flip in a book. What I can say is, if you read this book, it gives you a head start, because I put 20 years of knowledge into this book on finding, fun, and fixing and flipping. Now, I'm not going to tell you to go out still without getting it with the right team, but it gives you all of the foundation on how to find those teams, what question to ask your contractors, how to find it, the mindset side of it, like being true, like what we just talked about, being ready for it. And if you're not ready for fix and flip, I talk a little bit about that, because wholesaling, and that's why guys like Ray I mean, we need you, like, because a lot of people are still afraid of the fix and flip. But, you go to Ray and learn how to wholesale until you save enough money, and then that fix and flip will come through your network. So the book just goes from, it goes over the 4 steps, over the system: finding, funding, fixing, and flipping. And if you read it and do it, what we've put into the book, you'll be fine. You'll be successful.
What's the name of the book and how can he get it?
The book is Flipology 101. They can go on to RamonTookes.com. That's RamonTookes.com. And you can order it, and it will be to you autographed by me in a matter of days.
Is it on Amazon or no?
Nope, we're not putting it on there. I can't share my money like that yet.
All right.
We're not ready to share yet. We're going to push it ourselves for a while.
I understand. Somebody also asked about your private lenders and your hard money, the percentage that what percentage do you normally pay them?
It just depends on the project. Anywhere from, I have some that where I get money. Well, private is different. I have private lenders that, I don't pay points on. And that's where you learn how to raise, private money. But hard money lenders, anywhere from 2.5 to 5. I have one of my commercial lenders that he's still 5 and 15. So as low as 2 points, 2 and 12, 2 and 11, up to 5 and 15.
Can you explain what points are for those that may not know?
Yeah. Points are the fees that the lender charges you for making the loan. So, for every point, it's equal to 1% of the loan. So if it's, $100,000 loan and they say it's going to be 5 points, that means the lender is making $5,000 just for making the loan.
Wow. Okay.
And I don't want to say just for making the loan because, when we first started, it was 10 and we were paying 10 and 18. And so it wasn't bad because where else do you get money from? Like, I can't call my uncle and say, hey, I need $150,000. Even if he has it, he's probably going to take 50% of your money as opposed to 15, 20% of the money. So don't look at hard money as a bad thing, but you use it as, I'll say, an assistance till you can get to a different level. Because if I can use leverage to other people's money, as you said, Ray, to make some money, and if I put up $30,000 and I make $20,000, that's about an 80% return on my money in a 6-month period. You can't beat that anywhere.
That's right. That's right.
You don't run from hard money. Just learn how to use hard money. Just understand you need those payments put up, and you need to know that that's your partner. And they're cheaper than if you call me because I'm going to ask for 50%. So,
I hear you.
That's true. So hard money is a good way to go, especially if you don't have any other resources to get it.
Somebody just asked, as far as when do you know how to transition from a wholesaler to a fix and flipper?
That's a good question. You know, 2 things I'll say: when you can afford to do it, and you should always be a wholesaler. I still wholesale now. I told Ray I try not to wholesale some of those good deals, but when we have, like for me right now, we got probably about 38 deals over the past 30 days. And so when my cash gets really, really low, I start to wholesale a little bit more. I really don't like to give up good deals. Like, we're getting multi-units, we're getting wholesalers, like we are getting stuff all over. And so I think the answer to that question is when you're ready, when you have some cash or the right partners. Because if you're doing some great wholesaling, I promise you some fix and flipper is going to make you an offer to say, you know what, partner on the deal. I can just give you guys a quick story, Ray, if it's fine.
Sure, go ahead.
One of my latest students, I do 90-day coaching right after each boot camp. And so I only take on 10 students. So it's a young lady, Enchanted Home Investments, if you guys follow her. She found a deal, and the deal, and I was going to fix and flip it, but because of hard money, it would have been a 10%, I don't want to call it a loss, but it would have been 10% between traditional banking and the hard money, where we would have spent about $70,000 because it was a $700,000 house, in just, interest and points and stuff. So it wasn't worth it to me, but I had a lender that said, Ramon, I'll buy it. And so she made $5,000 on the front end because, we set the deal up, and she has 5% ownership in the deal. So this is her first wholesale deal, and it's also her first fix and flip. So the reason why I'm telling this story is because when you're out here doing the right things and you're wholesaling and bringing good deals, you can become part of a fix and flip team. I mean, if you brought me enough good deals, I'm going to tell you, don't just take that $1,000 that you get as a fee. Why don't you take $500 and get 10% and go to the courthouse and get the permits for us, and that way you're part of that fix and flip. So
right.
You're always ready when you have the resources, but that's something that you have to in your gut know, like, I'm really ready. You got it. You can't be, well, I'm always afraid, but you can't be too afraid not to do the deals.
Okay, great. All right, guys, we're coming up on the end of our time, but Ramon, just wanted to ask you one last question. What was like some of the parting words you want to share with everyone, words of encouragement or words of inspiration to kind of like just have people go out here and get started on their real estate business?
What I can say is, guys, this is one of the best businesses in the world, whether it's a good time or a bad time in the economy. Next time the economy crashes, Ray, hopefully you and I have, and everybody that's on here have enough money to take advantage and do what the hedge fund did and the foreign investors did, but we buy up our own stuff and not have to wholesale and be afraid to do it.
Right.
But, going back to, just do this business. Learn it. Get with people like Ray. There's somebody near you, and Ray can do this. Ray does wholesaling all over the country. So learn it and then take action. You have somebody that'll help you all over. I mean, I can say I get calls, and I don't mind helping. But if you don't start taking action, you'll never do the business, and you'll always say, man, I could have bought that house on, First Street for $5,000. Yeah, you could have. Now it's $50,000. Or now it's $150,000. So you got to take action. Doesn't matter when you start. Doesn't matter what your credit's like. Doesn't matter your background. Guys, we're all the same. If we stop doing it tomorrow, if I stop fixing and flipping and wholesaling, then I'm going to be looking for a job. So don't feel like, I'm just starting. We're all the same. If we screw up on a deal, we lose money. Just, that's the only risk that we have in this business, losing some money. And it's okay, because we blow it anyway. We blow it at the malls. We blow it on, going out to eat. We blow it on trips. I'd rather take that risk on a deal, and then the money from the deal, I can go out and have a little bit of fun. So, in closing, Ray, I would love to see, I don't know how many people on here, but I would love to see that number better than what they say, where it's only about 5% of the people that go to the seminars and listen to what we're saying are successful. I would like to feel like, Ray, that when we do something, when you do something, our numbers is a lot higher than that, maybe 20, 25%. So, guys, let's go do it. I know Ray can handle whatever you need. If there's a fix and flip need, Ray can call me anytime.
Yep.
We got each other's cell phone numbers now. So let's just do it, guys. We got a window, and we're saying 3 to 5 years, Ray, where we can take advantage of what's happening today.
Yep.
Let's take advantage of it. Let's go buy up some stuff. Let's go wholesale some stuff and make some money. So if there's any questions, Ray, you can ask me, but I know you said to close it out. But yeah, we can do it. You can do it. Whoever's watching, guys, you can definitely do it because if I did it, if Ray can do it, guys, you can do it. You just got to listen and you got to go and take action. Can you give your website one more time and how somebody can get in contact with you? Yeah, our website is RamonTookes.com. That's RamonTookes.com. And then you can email me. Ray, I used to give out my cell phone number, right? Don't do that. Please don't do that. No, this is the same cell phone number I've had for 20 years, so everybody knows it. Right? But you can email me at Ramon Tookes at thetooksgroup.com, and that's TATTOOKES group.com. We'll get back to you pretty quickly if you have any questions or if you need to, reach us. Awesome. All right, guys. Well, that's our time. I appreciate you joining. Appreciate the hearts. Appreciate the questions. If by some chance we couldn't get to your question, just please forgive us. But thank you very much. Make sure you take this information. Remember now, don't just keep consuming the information. Take this information and go out here and apply it, and let's create this lifestyle that you desire, all right? This is your boy, Ray Mabry, along with Ramon Tookes. We about to sign off. And until next time, peace.